What does your grandmother's casserole dish and your cell phone have to do with the future of auto glass? I'm Jamie Browning for Auto Glass Digest. Stick around because you're about to find out. We hit the road to New York City for a special invitation from Corning to show off their latest designs of Gorilla Glass for automotive applications. The event was held at Chelsea Piers in Manhattan on the Hudson River and gave media outlets a chance to view the Gorilla Glass concept car for the first time since it debuted at the CES show in Las Vegas earlier this year. Corning has been on the forefront of technology since the 1800s and created the glass enclosure for Thomas Edison's light bulb. With technology that would make Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, jealous, their technology is on the forefront of the automotive industry. Corning is no longer in the cookware industry. Their Gorilla Glass is featured in over 4.5 billion, that's right, billion mobile devices worldwide. Corning has been working with leading automakers to provide lightweight, advanced glass technologies to enable cars to be lighter, cleaner, safer, and offer a more connected experience for the consumer. Marty Curran gave the introduction and spoke about the technology behind Gorilla Glass. He then handed the spotlight to Doug Harshbarger. He gave us a walk around of the car, explaining the innovative features and technology that's currently being developed and already in use. The rear display can be simply altered by changing the display image. The taillights have accent lighting that is both functional and decorative. The backlight is a dynamic glass that can be changed from light tint to dark tint with the push of a button. The side lights and roof are dynamic to continue the flow from the backlight. He also walked us through a video highlighting the test on the windshield showing the differences between Gorilla Glass and traditional windshield applications. Christy McCarty gave us a walkthrough of the interior touchscreen devices and demonstrated how they would be playing a large role in the future of interior design. So tell us a little bit about how Gorilla Glass is going to affect the auto glass industry in the future.
Yeah. So what's very interesting is as we bring Gorilla Glass into the auto industry, we think it's going to make it cleaner, safer, and more connected. How so? First is it'll be lightweight. So you'll have fuel savings and you're going to be better for the environment. Second, you'll be safer. As you look at what will happen as glass gets thinner, we find that the inside of your glass, just a simple act of cleaning it will abrade that glass. And if you get hit by a rock from the outside, there's a chance that you'll have breakage on the inside of the cabin, and we want to prevent that.
And can you say how many cars are getting the OEM Gorilla Glass windshield?
We cannot, but what we can tell you today is that we're well over 20 cars that have Gorilla in the models on there. I'd say it's about a third on the windows and about 2/3 on the interior.
So interior is playing a big part in the Gorilla Glass with it.
It sure is, and you can feel how the consumer industry is morphing into the auto industry, and they want to have that feeling and that experience inside the auto. So what we've noticed is we can give you that cleaner, safer, connected on the windshield, the roof, and the side lights. You know, when augmented reality or the heads-up display come, that'll be a beautiful display image as well. And on top of that, the instrument clusters are made to be able to do that. This cover glass, well, luckily, it looks like it's going to be a hit.
And give us just a little bit of technical data on the Gorilla Glass. What percentage is it stronger than a normal windshield, and how scratch resistant is it?
That's a great question. The way we like to present it is, right now we're about 1/3 lighter, 2 times tougher, which you can also do the inverse and say I'm going to break my windshield about half the time that they do today, and 3 times better optics. I'm going to be able to get a larger shape for the same optics and have it be much sharper. So when I want to do that, so that's the way we like to say it: 1/3 lighter, 2 times tougher, 3 times better optics.
So essentially, it's going to add to the reinforcement of the body of the car as far as the structural part goes?
That's an excellent question too. That will depend on how much you want to use it and how thin you want to go. Much like the consumer industry, the first consumer glasses were closer to a millimeter or 1.1 millimeter, and every time we came up with additional glasses, we're on Gorilla Glass 5 in this 10th year of Gorilla Glass. You can either go thinner and get the same performance, or I can thicken it up and give you much better performance. So we will leave it to the OEM, to the customer. You tell us what you'd like to do. And we have some people that love that toughness, and they'll go that way, and we have other people that really want the light weighting, and they'll go that way.
Is there any difference in the method that you would repair to perform a windshield repair on the Gorilla Glass windshield?
No. And the only thing we have to make sure of is that our partners, our glazing partners, if you're selling windows and now all of a sudden a disruptive technology says, well, you're probably going to sell half as many. And today, of all windshields sold every year, half are for replacement and half are in the new automobiles. So if you're saying, and that's a significant chunk of the market, they have to make sure that they're adjusting and have a premium. And we love it because we think that the premium paid for a windshield like you see here, which could be about 30 bucks, that's paid for if a guy owns a car 4 or 5 years. The fuel savings each year are between $6 and $10 a year. You're paying for that windshield from the fuel savings, and you get this tougher, better optics, and better handling car. You can stop 1 mile per hour shorter. So if there's a pedestrian issue, or we're in Western New York, if you see that deer coming, you have a little bit extra stopping power.
Right. And what was the first vehicle, the GT40 or the Ford GT?
It was actually the BMW i8. It was an internal acoustic separator panel. And then the Ford GT was the first one to put in on there. And then I'll just leave it at that. I will tell you this, we're working with all OEMs on the windows and on the interiors. And the best part is we'll have our manufacturing capacity and our JV with our Saint-Gobain, our partner in making windows. We'll announce later in the year about the location of that factory.
So we have some of the technical data on lighter, stronger on the windshield and the lamination. What about the tempered side of it?
Well, right now it's an interesting part. Today, the roofs are tempered, and what people have found is when that thing breaks, then you will have a collapse of the safety pieces in the car. So those are shards of glass. And what happened when they went to a laminate to try to improve that, they lost some strength. And so what we've shown the industry, and this was our partner, an OEM partner that asked, the executive actually had 2 daughters that had similar cars that had the problem in both cars. And so we were able to show them, look, if you use this very thin Gorilla hybrid roof, it allows for lower center of gravity, better handling, and it's going to be stronger than the tempered glass, and it's going to keep the people inside the car. So what we always say is, let's keep the bad stuff out and keep the good guys in. And that's what we got.
Right. I think that's something that the auto glass industry is looking at in the future, are laminated side lights. And yeah,
acoustics as well. We can go lighter and have better acoustics and have a tougher glass, all with the Gorilla laminate.
And would you say that the windshield would be comparable to, say, the cell phone as far as scratch resistant?
Yeah, on the inside, I would say so, yes. The comparison of Gorilla to other materials like soda lime glass, for sure. And that's the beauty, because as you go thinner in soda lime, that's where they have the problem where the abrasion becomes much more pronounced, and you have that problem where you could have spalling on the inside of the car when they get hit by a sharp rock. We want to eliminate those kinds of safety issues.
Right. Well, we're certainly interested to see what Corning rolls out in the future for the Gorilla Glass.
We love it. We think that these 2 businesses here will be the next billion-dollar business for Corning. We're excited about it.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for having us up. And
we'll keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Christy, tell us a little bit about what's going on here with the console.
Yeah, so what we're doing is actually working to bring the smartphone experience into the car. Everybody's very used to how you have touch capability and the responsiveness on your phone. And so we're using that same glass in the car now to enable this connectivity experience for automotive. With the mega trend of connected cars, the car is becoming your largest connected device. And the ability to interact with that device is becoming increasingly important. And so from the standpoint of moving displays from their deep recess that they have right now proud to the dash where you can actually interact with them easier is a very, very important element of not only design feature within the car, but even brand strategy for some of the automakers as we go forward. So what we've done here with Gorilla Glass is provided a cover that gives durability for a long life of the car, but still having the beauty and the elegance, and most importantly, the touch experience that consumers are used to.
And this will certainly not scratch it off from normal touching it.
Use, yeah. So again, it's just like with the phones. You know, the typical use of this, the durability is going to be significantly improved over, say, the standard kind of plastics, even some of the soda lime glasses that you see out in the market today.
When do you think we'll see this start to become more, I would say, more of a factor in the OEM market? Or when are we going to see this in like the Toyota Corolla or whatnot?
Yeah, you know, it's a great question, and going back to the Consumer Electronics Show earlier this year, and then the Society of Information Display Show just late in May, we're really seeing a tremendous amount of interest across the board for the auto interior displays. And if you look at even the concept cars that are being showing today, it's not just the premium models like the Mercedes and BMWs that you would expect, but more of those mainstream concepts. And I think the reason for that is your market is changing a little bit. You have a whole generation of drivers that have grown up with connectivity. Right. And so this is becoming a very, very important element for them to be able to attract in buyers and retain loyalty to their brand once those buyers are attracted in.
And where else in the car will you find this? I see you're starting to do it in the door panels and...
Yeah, so you know, some of that really depends on the way we think about cars. I think you're going to see, you know, certainly instrument cluster, center stack, rear seat entertainment. You know, sometimes the displays are literally integrated right into the back of a seat in a very elegant fashion in some cases. But then when you move to autonomous driving, where you're not actually having to steer a car, and it becomes more of a living space experience that's getting you from place to place, then you could even see displays on windows. You could see bigger screens and the doors, you know, the ability to take content off of your phone and swipe them onto the car display. You know, so there's a lot of things that are being thought about in the industry, very, very exciting things, but they're all going to need the durability and the lasting factor to make this successful, not just the first day, but, you know, year after year within the car.
And do you know how many vehicles that this is coming in OEM now?
You know, something that's this extreme is still probably, you know, a few years off. Certainly, these in cars today, we see a tipping point happening this year, actually, according to IHS, one of the industry experts that's out there on touch display technology, the capacitive touch, that multi-touch display, and that's really going to drive more and more integration, more and more need for this kind of technology in the car as they are adopting that more heavily.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking time. We're going to get some close-ups. This is some really cool stuff. I may just stand here for the rest of the afternoon and just touch everything.
Please do. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Tell us a little bit more about the emissions and what Corning is doing to reduce that down.
So what we're doing is we're focused on gas particulate emissions, and what's going on is there's a trend in engine technology that's going more towards GDI, or gasoline direct injection engines, and it's going in that direction because people want improved fuel economy and better performance out of their engines, right? And GDI engines address that very well, right? Unfortunately, GDI engines generate a higher level of particulate or particles than your traditional MPI engines. And as they're generating more particles and people are looking for cleaner, healthier air, then it brings forth parts of the world to decide we need to address this issue.
And that's certainly a huge topic, especially in the news of late with everything going on with the different countries coming together. And you're seeing this more in Europe now?
Well, we're seeing the first launch happen in Europe. They have a regulatory standard that comes into effect later this year where they are regulating particle number, right? And then that standard begins in 2017, and then we see China following with their regulatory standards in the middle of 2020.
Perfect. Thanks so much for taking time to speak with us. We're going to definitely check this out a little bit more, and I appreciate it.
Good. Thank you.